It started with a boy who would not wake up. His eyes stayed open. His chest still rose and fell, but nothing inside him answered when his mother called his name. By the winter of 1916, doctors across Europe were seeing the same thing, over and over in patient after patient. Some drifted into endless sleep. Others couldn't sleep at all, staring at ceilings for days, twitching, terrified. What kind of illness does both at once? In Vienna, a neurologist named Konstantin von Economo began collecting the cases. He gave the disease a name, encephalitis lethargica, the sleeping sickness. It moved quietly through cities, slipping past the more famous influenza pandemic that same era, hiding in its shadow. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody knew how it spread. Patients would walk into hospitals complaining of a headache, a fever, blurred vision. Then, sometimes within hours, they would freeze. Some locked into strange postures, holding a raised arm or a turned head for hours, even days. Their minds, doctors said, seemed trapped behind glass. Aware, unable to move. Imagine waking up inside your own body and finding the door locked from the outside. Families didn't know what to do. Asylums filled. Newspapers ran stories calling it a plague of the nerves. Was it contagious? Was it madness? Was it something in the water, the air, the war? Von Economo and his colleagues dissected brains, hunting for a cause, and found inflammation deep in the structures that control sleep and movement. They had found where it struck. They still didn't know why. Across nearly a decade, the sickness touched an estimated 1 million people worldwide. Roughly a third of them died in the acute stage, gripped by fevers and seizures that never broke. Many of those who survived didn't return to who they were before. Some slipped into a kind of living stillness years later, decades even, a slow-motion echo of the disease called post-encephalitic Parkinsonism. They had outlived the illness, but the illness had not finished with them. Then, by the late 1920s, almost as quickly as it had arrived, encephalitis lethargica disappeared. No vaccine ended it. No single treatment cured it. It simply stopped producing new cases, the way certain storms blow through a region and vanish. Researchers are still divided on what caused it in the first place. A virus, possibly linked to the flu strain circulating at the time. An autoimmune reaction. Some combination science still can't fully untangle. How do you solve a mystery that decided on its own to leave? For decades, the survivors were the only proof it had ever happened. In the 1960s, a neurologist named Oliver Sacks encountered a ward of patients still locked in their decades-old stillness and used a new drug, L-Dopa, to wake some of them, briefly, from years of frozen silence. Some opened their eyes and spoke as if no time had passed at all. Others could not return for long. For a moment, a forgotten town of the mind came back to life, then drifted again towards sleep. No one knows if encephalitis lethargica could return. No one knows if it ever truly left. Somewhere, perhaps, a doctor is already looking at a patient who complains of a fever, a headache, eyes that won't quite focus, and wondering if history is quietly repeating itself. It started all those years ago with a boy who would not wake up. The frightening part is that we still don't know what would wake the next one.